Hi class, this is the first video for English 600. If you're not here for English 600, this video will not be a thrill. I want to talk about Topdog, Underdog, but first I want to talk a little bit about the class, what we're reading, and how we're reading, how we should approach our reading. English 600 is an introduction to graduate studies that's historically about dealing with the text itself and with professional scholarly criticism of the text. Reading, instead of, if 601 does a lot of heavy theory, 600 does close reading. Reading for style, reading for structure, reading for form. You've done some of this as undergraduates. This is a kind of graduate school boot camp. So there are things we're not looking for and things we're looking for very hard. What are we going to read? We're going to do three genres: drama, novel, poetry, some in prose, some in verse. In order. Not chronological order. We're going to start easy with prose drama. Drama is shorter, prose is simpler. It's one less thing to think about. This is still a pretty complicated text. Susan Laurie Parks, Pulitzer winner, Topdog, Underdog are up for debate. Then we're going to read Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. You may have heard of her and of this novel in prose. We're going to add verse with our third book, Pulitzer Prize winner, Natasha Trethewey's Native Guard. With it, we're going to read a guide to verse, just in case. John Hollander's Rhymes Reason. We're going to read these together. With this as a guide to some of what's going on here. This is very much a contemporary poet, but still uses formal verse. A verse drama, or mostly verse drama, and then a last novel, Nabokov's Pride and Prejudice, Nabokov's Pale Fire, which has an extremely unusual form. As I warned you on in an email, the format's weird. Try not to use an ebook. This is a novel that is posing as this. It is posing as a critical edition of a poem, but it's so very different. We'll get there. November is coming. Reading Topdog, Underdog, Susan Laurie Parks' Topdog, Underdog is one of her most accessible works. It is one of her most realistic seeming works. It's as close as she gets to conventional realism, but not that close. We have main characters who are named Lincoln and Booth. If you wanted to read for plot, and we don't read for plot in 600. Plot is not, finding out what happens is not the important part of the book. That is not where the real action is for the writer or for the attuned reader. If you think spoiling the ending is going to spoil it for you, they're named Lincoln and Booth. They're named Lincoln and Booth. If you don't know how it's going to end, I can't help you. They're named Lincoln and Booth. When Lincoln enters, he comes in dressed as Abraham Lincoln, including in whiteface. He's an African-American character wearing white pancake makeup like you do in kitchen sink normal realism, because we see that all the time. Dressed as Abraham Lincoln, and his brother Booth points a gun at him. If you don't know how this play ends already, step up your game. I can't even spoil the ending for this. The ending asks to be spoiled. The play itself tells us where it's going very, very clearly. That does not exhaust this reading. It's not a last minute twist, trust me. We should look for style. It is written in something like a realistic street patois. That is very difficult to do. It's very difficult to do without being patronizing or insulting. You can say, oh, she's just writing like people talk. It takes incredible artistry, incredible style to make dialogue on a page look like regular people talking, and actually making kind of street criminals patter and their slang sound interesting also takes a good deal of skill. Look at the details how we do it. If you listen to a lot of people, if you listen to a lot of uneducated criminal classes, and some of my family from the uneducated criminal classes. It's boring. It's really boring, right? Just listen, but go to the bus station, listen to a lot of people curse repeatedly. It's not entertaining. You wouldn't listen to that for a long time for fun. Parks turns that banal, broken language of these street hustlers into something that rivets our attention. We should also read for structure. We will read everything for structure. Parks, and we'll see next week, Parks writes about how she structures things, what she calls rep and rev, repetition and revision. It's a basic part of her craft, but she named it that, but she didn't invent it. We will see repetition and revision by all our writers. We'll see them all do the same thing Parks does, though most of them wrote before Parks was born. Look for things that repeat. Repetition is part of what holds something together. Parks says that her method is repeating things but revising them with each repetition. Repeating it with a change. It's a reprise in a musical. It happens over and over again. So look for the things that keep happening. Look for how the first four scenes. I said Act 1 on the syllabus. That's scenes 1 through 4. Look through after Act 4. After scene 4, we have an intermission. That's Act 1. Look how that first half, and this play is naturally structured with an intermission, the break, because it's a live theater piece that's designed to have one intermission. The audience gets up and goes, uses the bathroom, gets a drink, comes back. What happens right before intermission and what happens at the beginning? Look at those three things together. Okay, see you soon on our discussion boards and on our Zoom chat.